Welcome back. Now, in this world, as we advance into another new year, the world of parenting is evolving quickly, a lot more quickly than some parents can catch up with. On Parenting Today, we have Mr. Femi Shofolue. He's back. He's a passionate youth educator. He has 2 decades of experience with teens and youth counseling, and he's driven by this desire to see the youth excel. He also runs Leke's Library. He offers free services to teens and youth. And today we're talking about balancing tradition and modernity, how to navigate the tension between traditional parenting practices and the demands of this rapidly changing world. Or should we just say this technologically changing world? Welcome back. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
So it does feel like our children's eyes are growing square because they're always looking at screens.
At the screen.
And it's probably even helping, well, encouraging evolution of our backs and our posture because we're always like this on tablets. I have to say, when it comes to parenting, are there more pros than cons?
For every advantage children can derive from technology, there are always more disadvantage. For children. You need to grow to a certain level for you to know the balance on how to use technology. If allowed, children will not mind staying with technology all day. Because everybody naturally, until you get to that stage of being responsible, you want to do what gives you the most, how do I put it now? The most enjoyment, the most satisfaction, the most pleasure. That's the word. And children will not mind to stay with screen all day long if they are allowed. But as an adult, you know the negative implication of that.
Okay, so what exactly are those negative implications that you are especially worried about? Is it exposure, or is it, does it have to do with the tech itself and radiation? Or does it have to do with health, mental health? Which areas are you focused on?
My number one concern is the reduced attention span that it creates in children. Almost all the content children have today, if you go and check, none of them hold the screen for more than 3 seconds. And that, in a way, rewire their brain, reduce their attention span. There are more complaints in schools today about children not concentrating during lecture time than we used to have. And this is traceable to digital screen. Yeah, that is one. 2, social isolation. A lot of them, they behave awkwardly when it comes to, social skill because they spend more time on the screen than in real life. And as parents, you need to learn how to tell your children to go out, make friends, bring their friends home. Any friend they can bring home, mostly, they are there. In fact, your children will be telling you, my friend, my friend, my friend. Go and check who those friends are. They've never met some of them.
True, very true. It's actually sort of discouraging when you think about it. But then I'm thinking about children in other countries, places like Asia. The classrooms themselves, some of them, they have desks with computers in them, some of them are using computers to even scan to say that they've arrived at school. They've gone so advanced in technology. So if we as parents don't encourage our kids to understand technology, aren't we pulling our kids back?
Those countries you mentioned, those gadgets they use in school, they are not like the phone that we carry today, especially in Africa. Our phone has a lot of UV light, blue light that disrupts sleep. Over there, all those screens, they don't glare light back to the face of the children. And these are classroom technology. They are not the one that we carry about. In fact, in those countries you mentioned, I believe you know that those children that have access to technology in school, they don't have access to technology at home until they are 18. They don't have phone until they are 18. The great LeBron James, the basketballer, when his son turned 18 and he gave him his first phone, he announced it on social media. I was one of the first set of people to follow that boy about 3 years ago. Look at what that boy is doing today. And this is a boy that was raised in a home where they have money for everything they could afford. And the father insists that the boy will not have phone until he's 18. Just imagine that. We here in Nigeria, what do we even have to start with? And we want to use that as a social status. My son is using this, my daughter is using that, not knowing exactly what this is doing to those children. And we practice something in Africa that I call a digital pacifier. You don't want your children to cry, you throw screen at them. You don't want to be disturbed for a while, you throw screen at them. You need 2 hours to concentrate on your study, you throw screen at them. You are basically using their life to build yours. And that is not good.
So now this is already established. It has become a culture. It has become the thing that parents are using to distract their children for periods of time, long periods of time, a bit longer than we should. Now that's acknowledged. But what do parents now have to begin to do? Because it becomes a weaning off period. There might be some withdrawal symptoms from these devices. So where do parents begin?
For parents, I think if your child is already addicted, because there's digital addiction, no doubt, and it starts from just allowing them have their own time with the screen without being guided. If your child is addicted already, you have a lot of work to do. But if they are not addicted, set rules at home. Let there be digital-free zones at home. For example, in their room, no tech is allowed. Make that a rule. Nobody can take gadgets to toilet. It is not allowed. And as a parent, set the example. Sure. If you're a parent that work on gadgets more, set up a working space at home and only use those gadgets when you are actually working, not when you are trying to cool off. Introduce books. Books is still cool. Very true. I run a library, and I know the impact books can have on children. Let them have less, less interaction with screen. It's going to help them a lot.
Very amazing idea. So I remember talking about the fact that the average center table in a home has more remote controls on it than books. Right. There was a time center tables were all about books.
Books and magazines and newspapers.
Maybe let's try it out, Try it out for a week. Replace your remote controls on the center table with some really interesting picture books, even picture books.
There will be resentment if you do that, but you don't have to mind. Just do it.
And then maybe introduce a bookshelf into your parlor, and intentionally fill it up with some books. You never know. They might just be interested and wonder, why is mom or dad putting books in front of us, and at least pick one up and open one eventually.
And when you're putting books, please, there are books that are really interesting that we encourage them to read.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so.
Thank you so much for joining us, as always.
Thank you so much.
We are definitely interested in hearing your thoughts on this. I can't wait to see them use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and tag us, Wake Up Nigeria TVCE, with your thoughts.